Remember the good old days? 23 million new jobs over a decade. The stock market on parade. Growing debts had to be repaid, sure, but those were the days. Or were they? A similar question was asked 84 years ago in the midst of the Great Depression.
But just how good were the good old days? The woman in the home. Not often do you hear her grandchildren sigh for the good old days, not if they really know how she labored from dawn to dark.
The country had endured hardships before. It would emerge again. That was the film's message. And to some extent, it was right.
Where do we go from here? Straight ahead and don't spare the horses.
The U.S. would rise as the world's preeminent superpower. A belief in American exceptionalism that came from our founders was a guiding path, driving investors and buoying consumer confidence. Granted, if you were African American, sitting in the back of a bus wasn't exactly exceptional. And if you were a woman, neither was job discrimination or harassment. But with economic collapse came opportunity. The Great Depression, a time when 1 in 4 workers were made jobless, would prove a turning point in American politics. Roosevelt's New Deal kickstarted realignment around relief, recovery, and reforms, ushering in unprecedented government involvement in the economy. And so the question today, will coronavirus prove a similar catalyst? Those with that reasoning point to stagnating wages, yawning inequalities in wealth and income, and a shortage of affordable housing. Even before the crisis, 40% of Americans polled said they'd struggle to pay an unexpected bill of just $400. Now, throw in the fact that most people get health insurance through work, and tens of millions have since lost their jobs, and you get the picture. Comparisons to the 1930s are there. Those like Nobel Prize-winning economist Joseph Stiglitz say the nation is on course for a second Great Depression. Its infrastructure ill-equipped for mass unemployment. Some estimates suggest 1 in 3 people of working age could be out of a job. The IMF's managing director added that we anticipate the worst economic fallout since the Great Depression. Does that mean an appetite for a New Deal? Not necessarily. Remember, this crisis is fundamentally different than past downturns. It wasn't a banking bust, a dot-com bubble, or a housing collapse, all results of underlying weaknesses in the system. Instead, this time around, it was the deliberate shutdown of economies.
I would expect the economic activity to resume and move back up in the second half of the year. Very hard to say precisely when that will be, and it will really depend on the spread of the virus.
So far, the Fed has twice issued emergency interest rate cuts, the first time it's done that since 2008. Washington has also approved a series of aid packages targeting businesses and the newly unemployed. But this isn't 2008. 12 years ago, the world acted in concert to address the financial crisis. These days, as nations look inward, multilateral responses are distant memories. And so what comes next has as much to do with domestic politics as it does with international finance.